This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
All right, we go to the McClarty Daniel hotline, and it's time to talk with Nate Olson, Scorebook Live. We always appreciate you, Nate. How you doing these days, and a Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you guys. Great, a great winter day here, and the kids went back to school today, so it's pretty quiet around here. I'm not having to officiate any battles or make any food, so it's kind of relaxing day around here.
Well, we brought you on to talk about this transfer, Quinton Murphy going from Joe T. Robinson to Little Rock Parkview. And, of course, Little Rock is not in our listening audience here, but this is something that just feels new with a transfer announcement on social media coming from the kid's own account. It feels a lot like, well, you know, sort of what we saw from Quinshon Judkins earlier this morning. The difference is Judkins is 2 years into his college career, and he's going into a portal that's been created for players like him to do this. The deal with Murphy just feels like something completely new because I don't remember, maybe I've missed it, but I don't remember any public announcements like this that mirror the sort of announcements we see from college.
Yeah, well, I think Quinton is kind of, you know, he is part of the sign of the times. You know, living with a few teenagers and being around student athletes, the graphics, the videos. I mean, they're learning from the college guys and women and the professional athletes. I mean, and why Eric Musselman is so interactive on social media. That's kids are drawn to that, and I don't want to say he fell into a trap, but he is following a pattern that he's seen, that, you know, he wants people to know that he's transferring, so he makes that announcement. I think it was very you know, innocent on his part, and it took on a life of its own on social media. Now, this is something that I have subscribed to for many years, and this goes all the way back to Matt Jones changing schools and Nick Smith changing schools. This is what my philosophy on that is. If the kid and the parents think it's the best for them, then that's what you go by, you know. And I don't think adults trashing him is the right thing to do. I've never thought that. I don't think it now. And I was a little bit disgusted by some of the displays that I saw on social media because, you know, I don't even know if it was a mistake to put the graphics, but it was him being a kid. You know, when we were 17, we did things we wouldn't do now. You know, if I was advising him, I probably would have told him don't do a graphic. But, you know, he is a high-profile kid, and he's a recruit, and, you know, that's what recruits are doing. They're putting out videos, they're putting out graphics, and they've got guys that are, you know, out there peddling their services to make these graphics and when they commit and stuff. So, I mean, it was to me, it might have been a minor lapse of judgment. It wasn't catastrophic in my opinion. And I always just go, like I said, he's a kid. He's a 17-year-old kid, but us adults need to act a little better.
Nate, when I look at this last year's recruiting class and the signing day and everything that Arkansas got, and some of the other kids that went to outside the state, and you're looking at these juniors that are going to be seniors next year, how many total kids are there that are going to be Division I football players? Do we have 10, 12 kids in this next year in high school football in the state of Arkansas that will be Division I players?
Yeah, I think so. And, you know, we talked about that class last week. There's some top heavy guys there, you know, with Grayson Wilson, Marcus Wimberly, you know, so Grayson Wilson's a quarterback at CSC, Marcus Wimberly. You've got a pretty good, you know, you've got Quinton Murphy who, you know, depending on who you talk to, what his, you know, status is and ranking and stuff. Some say 3-star and different schools that he's looked at, but and it varies who you know talk to. But there I would say there are at least 8 or so, maybe 10, and there's probably 4 or 5 of those at least that Arkansas. Carius Kearney is a defensive lineman, offensive lineman out of East Arkansas. There's some good talent. I think this class may not be as strong as this last one, but if Arkansas, they've already got Wilson, that's a good start because he's a great quarterback and he's a 3-sport athlete. Houston Nutt always, I know he talked to you about that. He liked that you played basketball and football. And this guy's a baseball, football, and basketball player. You don't see that much anymore. He's a tall, strong guy. And so I think that bodes well for Arkansas. To already have him, and then, behind him you've got Kane Archer in that sophomore class, the rising junior that Arkansas is interested into, and his brother Cash, defensive end / linebacker.
Is he good enough, Nate? We talked a little bit about yesterday about being a package deal with those two kids. Do you see something like that? And is he good enough to play at this SEC Division I level?
Yeah, here's the thing, I wrote a column about this for the Best of Arkansas Sports. If I'm Arkansas, I already would have offered him. Mm-hmm. I mean, because if you think. And I think I've been here 25 years, Matt. He is one of the best quarterbacks I've seen as a sophomore. I mean, you can tell. I mean, you're a freshman and you're beating Northside, coming off the bench in a game. I mean, you're 14 years old and you're, Hail Mary to win the ball game. That's not normal. That's not a normal guy. That's a big time blue chip prospect. Now, 6'2", 200. Is he going to be 6'3" or 4"? We don't know. Maybe people don't want him to be 6'2", but I see some of the plays he made, in the play he made in the state championship where it looked like Pat Mahomes flying out of bounds and throwing a ball on the dime for a first down. I mean, that's stuff I haven't seen. Guys like you, Mitch Mustaine, people like that. He's in that rare air. So you've got a chance to get that guy. If you get his brother, all indications he'd like to be a Hog. So it seems to be a no-brainer. You offer him. He is a heck of a dynamo on defense, and they're going to play him more at linebacker and showcase those skills. And I think he is much in the line of a Grant Morgan where, he is gritty and gutty and plays hard and got that Greenwood, mindset and maybe even a little more athletic than Grant, high motor. And you like to have those guys on your football team. And so he's a 3-star guy. I don't think that is too much of a reach to offer him when you've got his brother who's a 5-star and you could get them both, and both of them could play quality years for you. And one of them could be a generational talent. So to me, that's a no-brainer. I don't know who all Arkansas is looking at quarterback, and Petrino now has a different mindset than other guys, and maybe he's turned off by him being 6'2". I don't know. But all I know is that when you watch him, he's much different than any other, high school quarterback that I've seen, and he fits the bill with the Mustaines and others that have, been blue chip recruits. He's one of the top recruits in that class. So I think it's a no-brainer you offer them both. And I think if you offered them both, they probably would both come to Arkansas and it'd be a good thing.
Nate, how do you the way you talk about Archer, you're talking about him in game situations first and foremost. We had somebody the other day, and I forget who it was, brought up that Archer has been to all the camps, and at the camps you're measured based on, accuracy and foot speed and how high you can jump and all of that, and poked and prodded like Matt has talked about at the combine.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much you really get a sense of somebody's football IQ. I try to balance that against somebody like Wyatt Simmons, who's the linebacker from Searcy, from Harding Academy, who you've talked about him, was under-recruited because he never went to any of these camps. I would wonder, Archer has an offer from every school in the country. Why would he have to continue to go to camps? What would be the point of this?
Oh, I don't know. And I don't know how many he will still go to. I mean, that's a good question. I mean, he wouldn't probably need to go to any. I mean, maybe it's just because you go there because you've narrowed your list down to 3 or 4 schools you want to go to, and you want to get to know the staff better. And that's probably one of the reasons that you do that. But I want to touch on something you just mentioned about the combine. And you know, people, I've always had a little bit of a problem with the star rankings and stuff like this, because I feel like some guys are ranked too high, some are too low. And I think some of it is because it is based on camps. And, you know, these guys that are in different parts of the country, you know, our staff, Kyle Sutherland and I and others, we're seeing these guys on Friday night. So I think that gives us an advantage to know some of these guys' strengths and weaknesses by seeing them on a football field. And, you know all about the analytics in baseball and launch angle and velo and all this stuff. And now that's kind of taken over football and other sports. But how does the guy play on Friday night? You know, how does he run the offense? And, you know, how does he manage crisis situations and, you know, late in the ball game, you know, in a pressure situation, like when he came off the bench as a ninth grader and led him to a victory over a bigger classification school when it looked improbable. I mean, I think that's something that's undervalued. And when, you know, we get to see these guys play, I think that gives us an advantage to evaluate them. You know, and at camp, yeah, you can throw the ball 60 yards, you can run. How are you going to do when somebody's coming at you and you're trying to make a throw for a state title? You know, how are you going to make that throw then? You know, and on a Friday night, you're trying to win a ball game, you know, against a rival or something. So I think that's something in all sports that's undervalued. You know, we're talking more about measurables and height, weight, hand size, and launch velo and stuff. But man, you still got to play the game on Friday night or Saturday after or whatever, you know. And sometimes guys look really good in the camp and they're not good in games. And then other guys, you know, they're not camp guys, and then they get on a football field and they can play. And, you know, the Morgans were a great example of that for Greenwood. They didn't wow you, but, man, they were great at Arkansas, weren't they? I mean, they got, you know, Drew got a chance from Brett Bielema. He was going to go to Arkansas State. He goes to Arkansas. He's one of the better receivers in school history. His younger brother goes, Grant, and becomes one of the better linebackers. They weren't lighting the world on fire in the recruiting trail, but they were gamers.
We take two more of those, Nate. If you know where two more of those guys are, we'll take them up there on the hill.
Well, I think one of them's in Greenwood. I think it's Cash Archer.
I
think that's your guy right there.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.